Welcome, everyone, to episode 62 of the Adam Makes Beer Industry Pro podcast. Today, I'm excited to be chatting with Antonio Sanchez, aka the Wort Wrangler. Before we get rolling, let me give a shout out to our fantastic sponsors that make content like this possible. Starting a brewery is a big step. Blickman Engineering is here to help. Since 2006, they've equipped hundreds of nano breweries for success. Their new 3.5 barrel Pro Surface electric brewing system cuts maintenance and saves at least 30 minutes per brew day with powerful under kettle heating. From 1 to 15 barrel brew houses to keg washers and grain mills, Blickman has what you need. Ready to go pro? Contact Phil or Tom at ProSeries@BlickmanEngineering.com. Blickman Engineering is a proud sponsor of this channel and loves to help brewers at every stage of their journey. Tracking and managing the financial health of your business is a primary pillar of success. Check out my boy David Lentz at Brewed Fiscally. This man has the industry experience and skills you need so you can focus on growing your business. Bookkeeping, fractional CFO support, financial management system design, business plan review. Hit up your boy. Check him out at brewedfiscally.com or shoot him an email at david@brewedfiscally.com. He's good people. Speaking of good people, today's guest is Antonio Sanchez.
I wouldn't say good people.
Well, he's people. He's Antonio Sanchez is a creative force in the craft beer world with a career that spans brewing, sales, marketing, and content creation. He got his start in 2012 at Area 51 Craft Brewery in Riverside, CA, and later worked at Packing House Brewing Company while exploring roles in merchandising and even cooking. A move to San Diego led him to into stand-up comedy, which evolved into a personal brand and online presence as Wort Wrangler. Today, he creates photo, video, and digital content full-time at Ballast Point Brewing Company, while also designing merch and label art for breweries around the world. Antonio, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Yeah, just enjoying this fine Tuesday morning, sipping some green tea, talking to you. Can't complain.
Love it. I see you're on the. I've seen at least an increase of tea content on your side on Instagram. Am I wrong there?
Oh yeah, no, not wrong at all. Yeah, it's become a huge part of my life. I think at first it was kind of like a health thing, like okay, cool, antioxidants, polyphenols, like anti-inflammatory, and then I quickly just like brewing, just fell in love with the culture. I mean, it is brewing in a way.
Sure.
It's something that like I really appreciate it, like the agriculture, but just like again, there's a lot of similarities of brewing with, agriculture of the ingredients, regions where things come from, styles of steeping and brewing. So
sure,
it's just a fun culture. But yeah,
are you a coffee guy and moved into tea, or has it always kind of been tea for you?
I'd say I was a coffee guy that moved into tea, but I'm still like, I want to say 25% coffee, but I've become like 75% tea now.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. Like I said, there's something magical. I still appreciate coffee though. Like I still love coffee. Still, I'm not like a coffee snob. I mean, I just like a coffee.
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you tea all day long?
Yeah. I think like nonstop. Like I highly recommend it for everybody, especially like brewers having access to HLT tanks and like, certain equipment. Make yourself a big batch. Just drink it all day. Like, I mean, there was just like I'm no scientist or nothing, but I read recently like, like the life expectancy in like Taiwan is pretty good. And one thing they noticed about them is it's a nonstop. Like I think there's even like positions at job places for that. Just tea people, like they just nonstop fill your cup up all day. So I think awesome. There's some kind of connection there.
Yeah. Are you, from what I've seen, it seems like you get bags of tea. So you do like the loose tea thing, right?
Yeah. I do what's known as Gong Fu style brewing. So you basically use one of these bad boys. It's kind of like it's a ceramic. I do. You have a yixing pot as well. It's like a specialty clay. But those ones you dedicate to a certain style of tea. These ones, ceramic's kind of cool because it doesn't retain, it's non-porous, so it doesn't retain flavors and stuff from other teas. So, yeah, I mean, it just depending on the style that I'm brewing, but or steeping or whatever. It depends like what I'll use that day. But because my current role is I would say it's hybrid. So I am like out and about, and, like, doing content and everything like that. But then I do work from home a lot with editing and getting all that stuff together, graphic design and everything. So luckily that allows me to enjoy stuff like that.
Sure. So as far as the content side stuff, talk to me a little bit about that, because so I didn't start making, when I started making YouTube videos, I was 45 and I had to figure out how to use Instagram. So like I was not really using social media at that time. And so, you start following different people and stuff. And, I found the stuff you do, obviously super funny, really enjoyable stuff. There is something in particular to finding comedy that's for your niche. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that. And sometimes there's crossover, it's kind of like work humor sometimes too, but there is something specific about really being able to dial into something that's actually what you do.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's always just been, kind of my obsession with improving like an experience for something that can kind of suck sometimes. I mean, I've done it too with other jobs. Like, I mean, some people would call me a great coworker. Some other people would also say like, "Oh, that guy sucks," because I just never took shit seriously. Like I
Yeah.
remember being 18 and even like I had a shitty job at Walmart because I was like, 18. I was gonna be a dad fresh. So I was just taking anything I can get,
Yeah.
and at the same time, I was still an 18-year-old, so I was still like fucking off.
Yeah.
And I learned from like there was a quote from Norman Collins, aka Sailor Jerry: "Good work ain't cheap, cheap work ain't good." And I would just always say that. I would like, really, you're just gonna half-ass it? Yeah, good work ain't cheap, cheap work ain't good. We're minimum wage, and yeah, no, like that was like I said, I've always wanted to have fun, especially coming into San Diego, enjoying the comedy scene. It really kind of brought that side out of me because I did come here to brew. Like that was
Yeah.
I started here at Mission Brewing, and then did some other work at the East County Brewery, and the East County Brewery. We will not say names, but they were just I had an experience that kind of pissed me off, and then that kind of caused me to start Wort Wrangler. I
Yeah.
was just a salty brewer from over the years. Pay sucks. I was kind of tired of. At the time, I think I was kind of crossing paths with a lot of snobs,
Mhm.
and I wasn't. Well, I wasn't in the peachiest of moods for for craft beer at the moment, and that kind of caused, Wort Wrangler start. But and then it made me kind of fall in love with the culture all over again, connecting with everybody. Um, and yeah, I mean, and at that, like it was interesting, kind of going on from there, and my I guess I don't want to say like final. I don't like the word final, but like my most recent job brewing was with Resident Brewing Company. They're not around anymore, but even like brewing for them or working with them, um, like while having Wort Wrangler and being connected was always it's a really interesting like perspective that kind of came up.
Well, it is. And so I have not been attached to a brewery since October of last year, and I've been doing content creation full time. And it is funny, like, because sometimes you think, I do educational stuff. And so a lot of my stuff is like either podcast clips, like the short stuff that I do online, or I'll go and I'll brew at different breweries, and I have like a long form video that I clip up. And, the main idea is I want to provide free educational stuff for brewers coming up, right? That want to see how different people are doing things like that. So, um, but nothing gets reach the way a meme does. And so I started dropping a few memes, and I'm like, well, these get a lot more action. They get the most action of anything I do. And so I'm like, well, I'm just gonna start trying to do like one a day or whatever. So you start doing stuff like that, but it can get a little complicated because you never know who's going to think that you're talking about them, because I've worked for 6 or 8 whatever breweries over the years,
Yeah,
and sometimes people think, oh well, that's about me, and it's like, no, sometimes it's just an industry thing, man. you know
yeah,
um but yeah, Yeah. So you were doing Wort Wrangler while you were boots on the ground in a brewery. When did it really start popping off for you?
Um, Probably I would say like maybe like 6 months into it. I was just kind of just posting every day, just and then at the time too, things didn't work out with that brewery. Um, and I ended up getting like this really shitty job outside of the industry. Like it was like didn't involve beer at all. Um, it was like the horrible corporate culture. So I was kind of extra salty and like uh, I wasn't even like around like the industry I love and like oh man that was so bad. It was I don't even think they exist anymore either. It's like good, it was the classic CEO driving a really super expensive car, treating everybody else like crap. Uh, Corporate potlucks was like seen like as a gift, like it's like
Yeah, yeah.
no, I don't want to try Jenny's quinoa salad that's been sitting out for 4 hours. I'm not interested. Uh, yeah, Amy puts raisins in her chicken salad. I don't like that. So, yeah. So I think 6 months into it, kind of popped off, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a little controversy at first. People kind of thought like, oh, well, he's an a-hole. He's he just seems angry and bitter. But I think other people were like, no, he gets it. He's just, there was nothing. Um, I never wanted to, I even though I did get into little online debacles with people, I never once wanted to make anybody feel bad about themselves or make them,
Sure.
hurt anybody. Um, so there was, there was that part. But then I feel like the page really made me like develop and grow, and kind of understand, different perspectives in the industry, different backgrounds, different stories. Everybody, that's what's kind of exciting about it. You have anywhere from chefs that decided to go the brewing route to tasting room employees, and then you have the people that actually went to school for it. There's just all kinds of different backgrounds, and it's really cool kind of seeing it all mesh together. And yeah, like you said, the memes are powerful. They really
They
are.
do, man. Nothing's gonna pop like a meme, dude. That's the truth.
Yeah, there's nothing that's it's more universal than a meme. I think like it's
Yep.
like it's the universal language. I feel.
You know what's interesting to me, because and maybe it's everybody's own personal lens. But then again, maybe I also listen to music that sometimes people will say is depressing, but I think it's funny. So what I've never looked at your memes and said, I've just always thought it's fun, right?
Yeah.
And it's fun because it's true, but obviously we're all still voluntarily taking part in this. I think that's like the line for me, right? Like for me, if what we're doing is, emptying your tank or robbing your joy to the point to where you're miserable, don't do it anymore. Like, why keep doing that to yourself? And so I'm always like a little bit more glass half full. So whenever I look at your stuff, it always just seems fun to me, even if it is like complaining about something that can be a negative in the industry. And so sometimes I wonder if it's like a little bit of the lens of where people are coming from, because I'm just starting to get a couple of people. I've had a couple people complain about like some memes that I did. And it's never like we should be able to have fun with this, right? That's always the idea behind it.
Yeah, it's always just authenticity and intention. That's
Sure.
that's the number one rule for memes for me is this real? Yes, it is. And my intention, am I doing this because it's funny, or am I doing this because I'm hoping to get under somebody's skin? And when I feel like I'm just doing it to piss someone off, it's like I have to cut myself off. Like, okay, no, that's a no. Don't.
What percentage of meme concepts or memes that you have finished have never gotten posted because of that reason?
Oh, there's probably a whole. I could probably start a whole other page. Like a whole. There's definitely a solid. If I had to put a number, probably anywhere from like 3,000 to 5,000. Like something. There's tons of that. Tons of memes that have been shared only with friends. I mean, that's how I got into memeing. Was like, it was all for friends. Like, I would go out of my way, Photoshop things, and really put the effort that I would for a meme that would get thousands of likes just to send a friend, like
Yeah.
just because we're talking shit about their boss, or we're doing, or making fun of like one of their family members or one of my family members or something.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's there's definitely, and then even on the page, there's me, like I kind of have like this like rule, like I call it myself the banger rule. So like I have a certain number that I want to hit in the first 10 minutes, and if it's nowhere near that, or it's just kind of struggling, I take it off of the main feed, and sometimes I'll put it back on the story feed. But yeah, like I've like done things where somebody will have like an idea and they want to collaborate, and I always credit them and stuff, and sometimes they'll get bummed, like, oh, where'd it go? I'm like, oh, it didn't do that well, sorry. Like,
yeah.
My thing is like the experience. Like I think about it from, if somebody's going to see the page for the first time, like, I want them to see banger after banger after banger.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where that is with me.
That's interesting. Yeah. Well, and so talk to me a little bit about like your experience of like, and sometimes it can sound strange, but I mean, like you've built a brand around it. And I'm assuming, do you feel as if opportunity has come your way from the work that you've been doing? Just like, and it might sound funny to say, but the work you do putting into posting memes on Instagram.
Yeah, honestly, it has. It's opened up a lot of doors, a lot of connectivity. I think it's taking me, this brand is taking me to places that I would have never gotten to just being a brewer, for sure.
Sure.
Even being like head of operations for a brewery, I feel like this page is taking me way farther than something like that would ever take me. Like, not to say like, there's not a bunch of money in me making, but I'm just the connectivity. Like, it's sorry, my voice cracks a little bit. I'm still kind of healing up from all the hospital stuff. We'll talk about it later.
No.
But
yeah, definitely. Yeah. No worries, man.
Yeah. But yeah, no, there's I feel, just like yesterday, like there's more surreal moments that happen like weekly now, where I think about my younger self, like whoa, they would flip out. Like, if there's like, a true story. Yesterday, I opened up the mail, or I went to go check the mail, and I got a package directly from Dogfish Head with a signed book from Sam and the gang. Like, seeing that, getting a signed book from one of your heroes is like, whoa, like this isn't an everyday thing. Like, sure. Things like that, and also creating. I've made some content with them as well. It's going to slowly start becoming like a GABF tradition where we make a video together. I'm hoping. Last year's video was super fun. And then, connecting, meeting people. I genuinely feel like right now my current role in media with Ballast Point wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Wort Wrangler. Sure. Not to say like that I got it because I'm like, oh, look at me, I got this many followers. It was more because of the reach, and then eventually I met someone within the company, and then I met multiple people within the company, and then that's kind of where I got like a referral thing going on. And even then, it wasn't like, oh, here's the job. No, it was probably like 4 to 5 interviews. I had to take the product and go and show them what I would do with it. Yeah. So it at least gave me the chance to demonstrate what I can do.
Sure.
So,
did you have like any background on the design side stuff, or was it just something where you're like, listen, I'm gonna learn how to make memes in Photoshop, or what was that?
Yeah, no, I got lucky there, because a lot of people don't know is people know this, that there's not much money in beer, so I had to have like a job that I could really rely on. And I was at I don't know what legally say. I was at a fruit stand that sold very expensive products that is the primary product that everybody uses. Electronics, phones and such, and computers. So I was there. I was a technician for them. I was with the company for about 5 years, but a technician for about 4 years. The only reason why I was a technician too is because because I spoke Spanish. Like I slowly got into basically what happened was I kept translating appointments, and then I got fed up. I'm like, yo, like you gonna pay me for this or what? And then I stopped translating appointments, and then they're like, okay, fine, we'll make you a technician. I'm like, thank you. That's that. And yeah, so I jumped into that. But being a technician there is pretty cool because you get to do another role that allows you to teach classes, and obviously you have to learn to teach the classes. And so I was teaching classes on design, on video editing, on that, and I really enjoyed it, and I got really good at it because the people that had that job primarily like to party, and so they would always call out, and they would always give me their shifts. Definitely, they gave me their shifts a lot. I just got super lucky with the technician scheduling that I always had Saturdays off, so I would just like whatever work a Saturday morning, teach the class, and then enjoy my day.
Yes.
So yeah, that was kind of how I got good with or at least understanding Photoshop, understanding Illustrator, and I mean I've always kind of doodled and stuff. I'm not the best. I have my own style, and I'm always learning there. I definitely don't want to consider myself an expert, but good enough to where people want to hire me for for labels and stuff. So that'll work. But yeah, no, that's kind of so. Working at the fruit stand was a big contributor to, I guess, how I understood media and editing. Yeah, as well as social media as well too, because that was part of it. Was we had a business team, and the business team would host classes for businesses to kind of develop and grow themselves and make their brand bigger. So that was kind of a cool thing to really pick up on. And I was doing all that while still brewing. So it was a pretty cool experience. Like you would hang out with friends and work there, and then tell everybody like, let's go to the brewery I work at after work, and get some free beers. And that was also it was a perk. I would switch shifts like that. I'll get you a growler if you just cover me, like things like that. I mean, it was pretty funny too. Like a random funny story about when I was first like super early brewer. Again, working there and brewing, I thought I was Mr. Cool, making his own beer, and I was so eager to show off a new red ale, which was a horrible idea, by the way. It was a red Heffenweizen that my boss made me do. That was his thing. Didn't make sense. It was a weird thing. There was maybe like one good batch of it once, and then just was never achieved again. But we delivered a keg to a restaurant across the street. I told everybody after work, like, let's go to this spot after work. It's gonna be amazing. Like, it's gonna be cool. Like, oh, cool. Let's all go and check out Antonio's beer. We get there. We sit down at the bar. Before we even get to order or say anything, the bartender like slams a glass in front of me, like pissed off. And then she's like, "What the fuck is that?" And cause she knew me, And again, I thought it was cool, like bartender knows me. And then no, she was pissed. She was like, "What the fuck is that?" And then I picked it up, drank it. It was completely flat. Just tasted like malt water. It was horrible. And then that's how I learned how to carbonate beer properly. After that,
right? Well, you mentioned before. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, it was just embarrassing. Like everybody ragged on me forever for that. I've shared the story a couple times on the story, and I still have old friends that have discovered my page. They're like, "Dude, I remember that day." Like it's just, to this day, it was a pretty fun. There was just a pretty funny thing that happened.
Yeah, it's brutal. I mean, that's the worst thing. It's because there is that thing, especially when you first get in. There is the cool factor to what we do as brewers, right? And people are generally excited about it. And then sometimes stuff like that can go sideways as well. So you mentioned something before. You mentioned that somebody that you looked up to in the industry, and you said Sam from Dogfish Head. Who are some of those people that like inspired you on that side, whether it be on the technical side, just wanting to get into it? Who are some of those people?
Yeah, anywhere from starting with the local guys like Thompson's Brewing Company in Riverside, California. That was the first person to really kind of show me that I was doing things wrong. And but in the most kindest, generous way.
Mm.
He really showed me what the community was all about and being there for. So, Brian Thompson, shout out to him.
How did that look when you said it in the kindest, gentlest way?
It was visiting, like after wrapping up a shift at my brewery, going and visiting his brewery, and I'd bring him something, and then he'd be like, "Ooh, that's diacetyl, man!" Like, like my old boss didn't know really too much about it. Was a wild thing. We had a wild setup. We had like these random plastic fermenters. They were hooked up to air conditioner units, but then had a random lager tank in there. Like nothing made sense in that brewery. It's not around anymore. I hope he's doing okay. I don't know where he is. God bless him. But
sure.
Yeah. But I had to really, really relearn everything at Packing House Brewing Company, which they were great people, the good people. This guy Lou, he was one of the brewers there he was the brewer there that kind of showed me the ropes and everything. But yeah, no, like local guys like that to and then once we get to San Diego, kind of bigger heads like Paul from well, there's two Pauls actually that really taught me a lot. Paul from Mike Hess Brewing, he's out right now, and then there's Paul from Carl Strauss Brewing. He, again, people like that have really showed me how welcoming the industry, how beautiful it can be. And even my own friends from afar, which was kind of creepy actually. When I started Wort Wrangler, I was like this stalker kind of guy with certain San Diego brewers, like my buddy Brian, who became my best man in my wedding. Brian Kelly, Andrew Kelly, they were the brewing twins, and I would always like observe them. Like, oh, they're so cool and cute at the same time. Like they're like, and like it was weird. I still feel creepy about it because I would have Wort Wrangler and I'd be like, I want to be friends with them. They should be my friends.
Well, there's something to that though. Like I feel like especially when somebody is doing something, somebody's doing something impactful, they're doing it well in the space that you're passionate in. You do get that thing about them. You know what I mean? There's people all the time when I go to conferences and you're like, oh, you know who that person is. Like I don't ever go up and try to breathe on them or anything, or at least I try not to do it too much. You know what I mean? But I do think there is that element of it, like where you have that appreciativeness and on some level, almost like a fandom,
Yeah, it's definitely made me grow a lot of respect for friends. And again, like my buddy Joe, he's head brewer at Oscar's Brewing Company in Temecula. And at the time he was doing like really cool stuff like oatmeal raisin cookie ale, like things that were kind of unique at the time. I know nowadays, like, you can go to the store and find 10 oatmeal raisin cookie ales.
Yeah.
But being innovative. And again, like I said, I looked up to a lot of my local guys, a lot of local guys around me, and became tight with them. But then you have like the rock stars of the industry, which is, Sam from Dogfish Head. He definitely like really lit a fire in me. And Garrett Oliver, like these humans, like to this day I still like I still in a way get starstruck. Meeting them, John Palmer, like sweetheart of a human.
Palmer is so nice, man. He's unbelievably kind.
Oh yeah,
he's so nice.
Yeah, I think our last interaction was a little strange because he didn't have any context. I don't think he knew the page, and I just handed him that forklift certified pin. And his reaction was, it was super nice, super nice, but he was kind of still like, "Oh, thanks, yeah, thank you."
I like that. Dude, John is so nice. I remember I met him like 15 years ago doing like a homebrew event, and then I went to he was like a speaker at a homebrew event, and then when I moved to the pro side, he did when the homebrewers conference was in Michigan, he actually reached out and asked if I could do a water experiment for him, and he was going to report out, and we were going to drink the beers at the conference or whatever. But he always remembers your name. He's always so kind. And I remember he's like, well, listen, I want you to look at the PowerPoint that I put together. I want to make sure you're happy with it because, you brewed the beers that we're going to be doing for this thing. And I want to say, like, listen, man, you're John Palmer. Like, I think it's going to be all right, man. Just do your thing. Just do your thing. But no, two super nice guys. And one of my inspirational things from Garrett Oliver was, and it's not going to be an exact quote, and this is something that really hits me on the technical side of things. He said, not being able to brew the same beer twice doesn't make you artisanal. It makes you a bad brewer. Yeah. And I like that, right? And I'm not like one of those like super hard line, like pound the table guys. Oh, everything's got to be German purity law. Everything's got to be this. I'm pretty open-minded when it comes to stuff like that. But I love actually having a respect for what you're doing as a discipline and being able to be repeatable, being able to do your thing like that. That's one of the things that's always fired me up. That was a quote from him that always fired me up.
Yeah. No, and it really goes deeper than that. Like it's how how simple kind of when you get down to the roots it all really is, like consistency and being, I guess sanitary. I mean, like it's kind of just the roots of a brewer, like like recreating something great again and again. Yeah, no, it's like I said, like kind of going on the roots conversation is, like I think learning about, I guess, just sanitary practices, simple things like that, like really developed. I think that was my problem when I first started, was just not understanding that. And then that, evolved into making, great recipes and, grabbing some medals along the way. By accident. I don't know how that's happened.
Well, what do you feel like? Because first of all, I think sometimes there's a notion that, or maybe it's just pressure that I put on myself, that I need to be great at everything, or like everything needs to be in my wheelhouse. And I think the older I get, the more I realize it's like, hey, listen, everybody has some strengths. Everybody has some talents. What do you think was really your wheelhouse with your time in the brewery?
What do you mean by wheelhouse? Like kind of like
what you were really passionate about, or something that you just kind of really performed at a high level with this aspect?
Being an idiot. I'm just kidding. Basically, I would say within the brewery, I was, I basically, like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, I'm a world-class brewer, but I did. I made some pretty damn good beer.
Sure.
And I enjoyed it. I definitely did. But I would say where I shined was connecting. I would really look forward to my Friday shifty beers and going outside and really sitting down, connecting with the locals, with the regulars. That was like, even though I had a rough experience in when I was brewing in East County, San Diego, my favorite day was Friday. It's everybody's favorite day, but mine, for not because of the weekend, but because I would wrap up. I'd make sure to have, like, bust my ass all week to kind of wrap things up a little early on Friday, and then go out and have pints with the locals, with the regulars. And they would tell me, like, oh, I'm so glad you did it this way, or like, oh man, this pale is better this way now, like. And just connecting with them, seeing what they like, what they don't like, what they miss, the styles they missed. But I just feel like that's always kind of where I shined in breweries was, and again, like, I don't like to talk myself up or anything, but I feel like connecting the brewery wherever I was at with the people or with other breweries, with collaborating. And I mean, I remember one time just being, I was definitely inebriated, but slamming beers, having a good time with some locals in my old brewery, and my boss would happen to be in the room, and everybody's having a good time, I don't know what I said. I still don't remember exactly what I said to this day, but everybody got quiet in the room, and then they all looked at my boss and they went, "You need to keep him. Like they're like, he's going to keep this place going." And to this day, I don't know what I said, but I feel like, I wish I could give this like Academy Award winning like story of like the speech I gave, but I don't know what I said,
Yeah,
you know,
no, no.
but for,
Well, and I think it's a valuable thing. Being able to connect is a valuable thing. It's valuable within the brewery team. It's valuable between brewery side and being forward facing. I think that's a big deal. Part of what I like to do is when I do go in and do brew days with different people, and then I put those things out on Instagram or whatever. I like people to be able to see your people, right?
yeah,
That's one of the things that I enjoy about it, because I get to get into somebody's brewing space, talk to them about what they're passionate about, and then other people can see that. And I think that's an important thing. I think it's part of the connection that you want people to. I think that's how you form connection in some ways to your brand, to your business. It's through knowing your people. You know what
yeah.
I mean? So let me bounce this off you. What is let's go two ways. What are some things that as brewers, so like what are some things that as brewers generally in the industry, what are some of the things that you think like we're doing well, and what do you think might be some ways that we need to step up? And
Um,
I can clarify a little bit, because I'm
yeah,
just kind of riffing on this, because I feel as if it's really important to have honest conversations,
yeah,
because our industry is at its roots, it is a love, passion based industry. We love what we're doing. We love what we're creating. We love the culture around it. It's a passion driven thing. But I think it's really important that we always have honest conversations about things.
absolutely.
So yeah, what are just when I throw that out to you, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I feel things like honest as brewers, or I guess being honest about what we do. I'll start with what we do well. Um, I definitely think information is out there now. Like there's so much more resources, and brewers seem pretty open about it. I think we're kind of slowly out of that secret phase. Remember that like 2015, 2014, like I'm
Yeah.
not telling you my proprietary blend. Like
Some people are still there, man. But
some
yeah,
people are still there.
I do think it is fading. Yes, yes.
Yeah, it is starting to fade because it's like, okay, fine, you won't tell me how much you dose this. How about I just call up the fruit company myself? I'm sure they'll tell me, how to use their product properly because they want me to buy it. Like,
Sure.
yeah, so like, yeah, I feel like that in a way like that's definitely something we do super well. Again, collaboration is something we do really well. I feel like our industry, in the words of Evan Price from Green Cheek Brewing Company. We had a fun episode together on my podcast called The Mash Pit.
Yeah.
He was like, yeah, like no other industry really has like as much fun as us. Um, and then it was kind of funny because then he followed that up with like, well, I don't know, maybe the cocaine industry might have a little fun, but um,
That's
that,
funny.
that was a fun way to kick off that episode. But yeah, no, like yeah, I don't think Evan Price does drugs, by the way. Just throw that out there. No, I've hung out with him. I partied before. We've had tons of tiki drinks. Not one drug was passed out, guys. I have anxiety. I don't do well with weed. So you know, I'd be the first one to say if I felt uncomfortable. But um, yeah, I know, but yeah, again, like I feel like brewers connect. We connect really well. There's nothing else like it. I don't think you don't have plumbers American festival. You
Yeah,
don't have things like that. You don't have these like CBC kind of things for some industries. Kind of will, but I feel like with brewing it's just a mix of everything. It's the it's got a good mix to really put together some really cool people.
sure.
But yeah, I would say like that's kind of like a one highlight for sure about us. One thing we could probably do better is something I've noticed is ego. Work on that a little bit. I feel like there's still, again, like you were saying, there's people that are very secretive still. There's people that kind of think they're better than everybody. I feel like that I run into that too much. um, with different with different communities. Like you go to, Portland, or you go to um, just different cities in the US. And there's always that like group of cool people. Like we're the cool brewers. Like, we're the ones everybody like our tap rooms are always packed. Our beer tenders are always mean to you. We're the cool people. Like and it's just like, okay, like, hey man, like just wanted to talk. I don't want anything from you. I'm not trying to use
Yeah.
you. I'm not trying to, you know. And then I feel like I get those vibes a lot, like, from not a lot, but like when I'm at these big events like GABF
Yeah.
or CBC, I would say maybe like one out of every 8 interactions is you can tell someone's like, well, I'm the cool guy. Come over here. We're the cool people. Like, don't even get me started too. I don't even know if this is a brewer thing, but beer tenders, like, if you're in a popular brewer, like, check yourself. Like be nice. Like, yeah, you're probably gonna get some tourists. You're probably gonna get some people that have just seen pretty pictures on Instagram and they want to go experience it, and they want to take their pretty picture. Like, like be nice. Like, there's some spots here in San Diego where like they're just I'm just gonna say they're can I cuss on here?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
they're fucking mean. They're
Yeah.
like they're mean. Even me, like people will tell me like, oh, but you're a Wort Wrangler. Like, doesn't everybody treat you like no. I've been in places like where I feel like because I'm Wort Wrangler, they're fucking even meaner. Like, it's one of those things of like, the guy in front of me, he's like, oh, hey, grabs a pint. He's like, yeah, that'll be 10.50, and then I go, and they're like, oh, 20.78. It's like what?
Bro, so first of all, what are pints by you?
Pints, and I would say, yeah, actually, yeah, around 10-11 bucks is like the average here. Yeah, I know. I was looking at an old picture from Green Flash a couple months ago. It was $4 for 16 ounces of West Coast IPA that was like 7.5%.
Yeah. So, pardon me. So kind of talking about beer scene over there a little bit. I do think it's a little bit underrated sometimes how much difference there are region to region, right? So what is popping off there now? Is it still a situation? I feel like the stereotypical San Diego, or maybe generally California thing, you're going to go in and you're going to see the super majority of beers on the board be IPA.
Yeah,
And stuff like that. What is the beer scene looking out there like right now? How is it evolving?
yeah. I think other than me eating beer tenders, no. And I don't want to sound negative actually with that. I would say 90% of the beer tenders I hang out with and meet, and so they're always sweethearts. This is a small percentage,
Sure,
but
sure.
But damn, that small percentage.
The loud minority.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not just them. It's also like people, food places and things like that.
Sure.
Just like everyone these days, for some reason, seems annoyed. Which, again, that's the food and beverage industry is not easy. So I understand, but just don't just treat me like I'm a huge inconvenience. Shit, I could be an inconvenience to you, Dave. Just not a huge.
Just a minor.
Yeah. Don't
Just
treat
a
me
minor.
like. Don't treat me like my father. It was like, you were born like. Some, just remember, I'm only just eating here. I'm not here to stick around for the next, the rest of your life. Like, I'm here to just eat, have a beer. But yeah, no, back to what I feel like is popping off in trend. And obviously, yeah, we're San Diego. IPAs is like that's everything with us. It's kind of like it's our staple. It's our local cuisine, if you will. It's our native grease. But I do notice a lot. I mean, and obviously right now with the current just U.S. trend, everybody wants that juicy goodness. They want the juice bomb of an IPA. I'm guilty of it too. I like it.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not really drinking too much right now. Like I'm just allowing myself to have some swigs here and there. The other day I grabbed a hazy triple IPA, which is kind of funny because um, after my hospital, ICU visit and staying in the ICU, being hospitalized for a while, it's kind of funny. I have this like ongoing, like perspective in my head of like, it's kind of like on TV shows when somebody hits their head and they're like a different person. I'm like, ever since I got out of the hospital, why do I want hazies now? This is weird. Like, so that's kind of happened with, but I'm seeing, the increase in hazy triple IPAs, double dry hop IPAs. Um, but also the evolution, I feel like, is coming back to the old school piney West Coast IPAs. I'm seeing them pop up more and more now. Kind of, the menu isn't 100% juicy now.
Yeah.
It's obviously I can see everybody else is noticing this too. Is lagers they're coming back. They're coming back hard. The culture of lager too. People don't realize how cool it is. Like, if you I know people that don't even drink that, they like Miller High Life shirts. They like Coors shirts. Like it's the, American lagers, or it doesn't have to be American lager, but just lagers in general. Like it's Mexican lagers. It's such a big part of, I don't want to say like not just drinking culture, but just, I guess social culture. Like it's a safe, easy bet. People most of the
Yeah.
time like it. There's nothing like lighting the fire to your grill and cracking open a freaking youngling, like,
Yeah.
or a Modelo. I think San Diego is really starting to see that. Like lager culture is huge here with like New Zealand. People are understanding that they like that, extended cold conditioning vibe. Like
Yeah.
it's,
Yeah.
it's tasting, it's always a great introduction to stuff. It's, luckily I think, and then plus two now with all the information out there, brewers are making better and better, better and better lagers. Before, yeah, I'm sure you remember this. Like it was kind of rare to actually see a lager on. You would see
Mm-hmm.
blondes here and there, like
Mm-hmm.
blondes all the way,
Yep.
light stuff, like maybe grisettes, some of the weird stuff like that, unique. But having an actual lager on was pretty rare, like a few years ago. And like now, you'll see at least two or three every time
Oh
you're at a
yeah.
brewery. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so, what are you? So, like, I always think it's interesting to go to different towns. And I remember earlier today, I was wearing my CBC Minnesota one because it was in Minnesota a few years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe it was more than a few years, but anyway, so it was in Minnesota, and it was really interesting to me. I felt like the lighter their beers there drank differently. Like I felt like they were a little bit sweeter, maybe had a little bit more specialty character. So
Mhm.
even like the light style lagers, I do think it's interesting how you go place to place, and everybody kind of still has their own spin. I grew up in Michigan, and I kind of joke about it, and I don't mean it in a mean way, but I mean, Michigan for me was it's kind of like the home of like orange IPA, right? I mean,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
have you have Two Hearted, you have Centennial, so Founders and Bells, and then Shorts there. We're making kind of more of a caramel forward, extra bitter version of that style. And so for me, when I came up, so all of my knowledge base on brewing came out of California. So I started listening to, when I was teaching and homebrewing, I immediately got into a podcast called the Brewing Network.
Yeah.
And they're centered out there, and it was all California brewers that they were interviewing, or at least a lot. And so when it was time for me to move to the pro side, like I was brewing an IPA modeled after what they were doing. So like when I was making a very pale, a very pale IPA, it was yellow, and there was still a lot of caramel malt in Michigan at that time. You know what I
Oh,
mean? So,
I
but
think
doing a
I've
much
lost you for a second. I
leaner.
can't hear you.
I'm sorry, what?
I don't think I can hear you.
Oh, you don't have me anymore? Let me see. How long ago did I cut out? Let me try to switch my mic here. Let's try this. Hey, can you hear me now? You have me now? Hey.
I still can't hear. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine. Yeah, I can hear
Oh, yeah, I can't hear you for some reason.
hear you.
That's weird.
Well, this is crazy.
Let's see.
Let me look at it. Let me look at something. Hmm. Audio. Go back to this. All right, we can try this. I'm seeing it on my side. Anything? Let me try to dump and come back on. I'm back. Am I back?
Still can't. Still can't
no.
hear. Let me see. I'm gonna jump in and jump out. I'll
Okay,
see.
yeah.
See.
Hey, everybody. Hopefully you can hear me. If you're live right now, tell me if you guys can hear me on here. Who knows? Stay patient, folks. We'll try to figure it out. Huh.
Can you?
Hey, I can hear you.
I can hear you now. I don't know what happened.
Oh, you can?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Ah!
There we go. There we go.
Do you remember what the hell I was talking about?
Where did we leave off on? I know we're talking about trending styles. Oh, we're talking about East Coast loggers versus kind of West Coast loggers.
Oh, yeah. And kind of talking about when I first got in that, I came up learning how to make like West Coast style, IPAs.
Yeah.
So
I just realized the movement I'm making is looking so inappropriate. For everybody wondering, it's because I'm making tea. It's when you make tea in this thing, it has a lid, and you have to like slightly tilt the lid, so you're almost kind of like filtering yourself through the leaves.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So about that.
No, you're good. You're good. So when you travel around, so like when you go to conferences and kind of go to different regions, what do you notice different when you travel around about the beer experience compared to, or the beer styles as they are as compared to what you see in your neck of the woods?
It's kind of sad to say it, but I feel like just diversity. I feel I see a lot more, grisettes, cask ales. Like when I'm in Denver or if I'm in Seattle, a lot more, utilization of specialty malts and a lot more saisons and more experiments with yeast. And the locals are loving it. The locals are packed. They're drinking it. I could see them ordering it. It's not like it's a one-off. Versus here is like, like you were saying, it's like 15 IPAs on all the time. Sometimes, it's kind of, like I think I kind of appreciated it more now though, like since I don't drink as much. So I get excited pretty much with every style now. Like I went to a baseball game, my first game back of the season, go Padres. And I just normally, like before when I was just kind of casual drinker, never would have ordered it. But this time I'm like, a red trolley ale sounds amazing from Carl Strauss. Like, so I got one of those, and but yeah, going back to it, I feel like when I'm out and about, I just feel like I see a lot more experimenting going on than I do in San Diego. San Diego, we make really great. I mean, that's why we make great stuff, because we, it's like we're the masters of practicing the same kick 1,000 times versus
Sure.
practicing 1,000 different kicks.
Yeah.
we are really good at it. Like you were saying, like there's a certain feel to certain styles. Like, we have our water profiles, and the East Coast has their. And I'm not gonna lie, um, I, people are gonna get angry, but I do like East Coast lagers better.
Yeah.
Uh,
What
it
what what do you
is,
like about it?
like I'm thinking like Youngling. There's a certain characteristic there. The body, it is a little softer. It is a little bit, in a way, like for instance, like the way Youngling is, like it's got this like skunkiness to it, in a good way, and I just feel like like I said, softer bodies. There's even cooler, kind of pretty cool branding about it.
Do you think it's
Um,
a water thing, like what you're talking about, or is it an
I would
approach
say
on the recipe
so.
side?
I would say water thing, as well as East Coast, their perspective on, their hop scheduling is probably a little different too.
Hmm.
And again, it's also interesting. Every brewery is the same, or every brewery is different. You could brew the same thing, in two different breweries and get complete two different,
Sure.
beers. Like with equipment, I know East Coast tends to be a little tighter, more compact with the way their brew houses and tanks are set up. And I feel like that plays a role with everything. Like I feel like there's, just different equipment, different, um, I guess, processing in the East Coast versus West Coast. I just feel like there's a smidgen more love in East Coast lagers versus, West Coast stuff. Because I feel like in the West Coast, we're Californian, like we're kind of cranking. We're trying to crank out, and we're focused on like IPAs and trying to crank out those, IPAs in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, without having to hassle. And, it's expensive to live here. So we got to crank. We need money. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yeah. Um, I feel like there's a different vibe when it comes to East Coast style brewing.
sure.
And again, like, Brooklyn, just again, shout out to Garrett Oliver, like legendary stuff. And I think there's a reason why, he's him and the brewery were both like put on the map. Like it's incredible stuff.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me ask you a question a little bit on the brewing side of things. We're kind of talking, West Coast IPA right now, and
Mm.
we kind of have this, and what I feel like is probably going to be the beginning of a trend of more and more and more hop products, right? And
Mm.
so we're seeing all these different oils, different fractionals, concentrates, things like that. What are some of the stuff that you see that folks are using out there, and what do you like to be using? Is there anything in particular, like, yeah, that this really makes this, make this character a jump in a beer?
Yeah. I would say, before we get into this segment has been brought to you by Haas Hawks.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
No, but honestly, yeah. Actually, I like to be transparent. I don't like to do the fake thing of like, oh yeah, they're gonna know. I genuinely like, Haas, yeah, John Haas products. They have this new one out. What is it? It's the name is, I've seen it 1,000 times, used it. Uh,
Are
what is
they? I always mix them up.
Yeah, Yakima. Because between my top two for sure is between them and Yakima Chief. Euphorics, yeah, Euphorics is a great, highly concentrated, water soluble, flavor product. Uh, that it's just like there's certain ones too that are just like straight like peachy and stone fruity. I mean, I think that's why I like green tea so much, because of those like that peach skin, stone fruity,
Mm.
goodness you get, that that yellow plum kind of deal.
And you said it's called euphorics.
Euphorics, yeah. I'm a big fan of that from Haas.
And so is that that's like a water soluble one?
Mhm,
Is that, and so
mhm,
that can be added on cold side and kettle? Where are we
mhm.
where are we adding stuff like
Yeah,
that?
I think primarily a lot of people are doing, like, knockout and cold side. Or there's a mix. People are still kind of like playing with it, but I've had it both and I enjoy it. Um, as well as same thing. I think the other one is Dynaboost from
Yeah.
Yakima Chief. That one's
Yep.
super awesome. Plus, too, they just both of these companies have great people that I really enjoyed working for. I think I like knowing that, supporting a company that just has really cool morals and values. As in, like, they're just kind, genuine people.
Yes.
They're not trying to really shove anything you don't need down your throat.
Yeah. It was interesting. I talked to a guy from Abstracts. Did you go to CBC this year?
No, that's what I
That
went
was
to the
Indianapolis.
Vegas. Oh yeah, no,
Okay.
I went to the Vegas one was the most recent one.
Yeah, Abstracts had a booth there, and I thought one of the things they did that was cool. They had like a whole sampling tray that you could get that had all these different elements in a base beer. And so I interviewed a guy from them, and it was interesting because I don't have a ton of background in what all the different products are. So it was cool to kind of dig into those things a little bit.
Mm-hmm. I
Yeah,
will say, like, a lot of this stuff too is like I mean, I've seen people use it, like, knockout and things like that. But like you're saying, yeah, cold. I think cold side is like a majority of these products. Like
yeah.
Euphorics is definitely shines more like in cold side.
Do you know if people are like layering these up, like using like multiple different ones, or like layering them up with different hop additions, or are people really trying to like drive the whole car with these things, or are they better to like layer up?
I've seen it both ways. I feel like I see more layering when it comes to like collaboration and obviously more flashy beers.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, we're breweries. We got to make a profit. So like,
Yeah.
I feel like just finding the magic number, finding the magic one that works for you. You definitely see a lot more of that. I mean, and I'm all for it. Like, people will see it as like, oh, you're throttling creativity. It's like, no, like, you still got to make money, and and you can do something really well. Like, there's an appreciation for simplicity. I think for me now at this age, it's like a single hop series. Like, I would, brewery comes out with a single hop series, I'm genuinely excited. I want to see
Sure.
everything about this hop. I want to know, what characteristics are you getting from the knockout, from all the cold side dry hopping. Um, you know, it's I think, yeah, like, there's appreciation now for quality of ingredients, not only with beer, like within food. I think it's just in modern society, like,
Yeah.
everybody wants, quality tea, quality, steaks, and
Mm-hmm.
you see all these like influencers online now, like, everybody we're kind of in that salt and pepper phase now, where it's just like, appreciate the simplicity. I feel like it's kind of growing more there.
Yeah. So, it's interesting to me what kind of talking about that idea of kind of different regional flavors and aromas. I think, for me, the descriptor for beer from that area, talking IPA, we always discuss the word dank, right?
Yeah.
Do you believe that is like still like solidly like a San Diego thing, like kind of leaning into that danker West Coast type thing? I know you had mentioned that people do like that fruit and that juice, and that can get pushed up a little bit too. But do you feel as if that's still like kind of the baseline undercurrent there, is that you got to have some of that dank to kind of fit into that scene?
Yeah, I would say, like, definitely there is, like, breweries that will. It's, I would say, mandatory. At least like one of your beers are like kind of more danky. Some dank, some pininess. I'd say it's still there. Like, it's not as dominant as it used to be. It used
How
to
do
be.
you feel about it? How do you feel about that character in a beer? Do
I
you
like
like
it.
it?
I like
Yeah,
it a lot. Yeah, it's to me, that character is, it's nostalgia. It's why I got into brewing. I mean, opening up a bottle of Saint Archer Mosaic from Kim. Kim she was their head brewer. Now she's over. She's head of production for Maui Brewing Company, but she was there before too, and then she took a break from it, and she was here in San Diego. She taught me a lot without her even knowing. I would just kind of follow her lead with some stuff on different processes, and watching and reading her interviews. But yeah, opening up a bottle of Mosaic IPA from her, and this was back in the day when Mosaic was was new on the scene. There was nothing like it. you'd open that 22-ounce bomber.
Yeah.
Everybody remember those.
Yeah.
And
I always think
just
of the painted bombers from Rogue. That's what I always think about when I think about
yeah,
bombers. Yeah.
yeah, nothing like a hazelnut brown. Oh,
Shakespeare Stout, I think that was
those,
one of
yep,
the other ones.
that
Yep.
one, yep, yeah, yeah. No, to this day, I still really appreciate like that danky old school goodness. I mean, I joke about it, putting crystal malt and things, but
Yeah.
hey, it's classic. It's
Yeah.
really cool to have like a classic, pale ale that's got some like ESB influence with the malt bill and stuff. Like, I mean, you can't go wrong. Like, dankiness will always have like a special place in my heart. It's not going nowhere.
What do you feel as if are some of your favorite hops to be using in order to drive that kind of classic danky thing?
Well, obviously, definitely like Mosaic. Honestly, all like the old school. If I'm like when I'm going for the dankiness, I wouldn't really mix it with fruit. I would just go straight old school. So
Yeah.
like Mosaic, Simcoe, and maybe to brighten things up a little Centennial.
Yeah.
I'm pretty big on that old school kind of just that old school dankiness.
Is there any
Again,
Columbus still flying around out there?
I would say so. I would throw it in a pale ale for sure.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that, and I mean, I still love like dry hopping with that. I mean, I haven't commercially brewed for it's been a little while, but I still
Sure.
enjoy like home brewing here and there. I use the Brewzilla. It's still a fun time, an excuse to just hang out with
Oh yeah.
friends.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not no expert, but I've made some beers.
Sure. Well, also one of the reasons that I wanted to chat with you today is, I know if you've been following it all online, that you've been having, some trials with on the health side,
Yeah.
and I know that I know that you have a GoFundMe as well. And I do think that we have a very powerful network around us in craft beer, and I just want to kind of open it up to you, kind of also like respect your space with it. But what do you want to be able to share with us about that experience, and then how can we go ahead and find that GoFundMe as well?
Oh yeah. No. I appreciate like I've said it 1,000 times. I wouldn't have been able to get to where I'm at without this community, without like where I'm at healing process wise, where I'm at, being able to cover medical bills. I wouldn't have been able to do any of that without the beer community. So there's just I can't put into words like my just my gratitude. There's no way I can ever really explain it. I'm just beyond grateful. Like I said, beyond grateful past words. Like I just can't put it into words how grateful I am. But yeah, I know it's it was a crazy time. I've always kind of battled lupus, within the career too. That was kind of also like an early thing that I saw younger in my early career was I knew kind of in the back of my brain that production brewing wasn't for me forever.
Yeah.
That my joints wouldn't be able to keep up with it. That hands wouldn't be able to tighten clamps and stuff. And
Is it on the inflammatory side? I don't know that much.
yeah, so lupus basically attacks what it wants to. In my case, it attacks my joints. It can attack skin. It can, unfortunately, the worst one for me is it attacks my kidney. And I've been in and out of remission with kidney disease. Luckily, still 100% kidney function. So I'm in and out with it. It's something I just got to really monitor because basically my kidney leaks blood and protein. So I'm playing around with different, medication regimens, kind of like calming down the inflammation there. It's another big reason why I kind of like jumped on the tea train was, and we're going to see like the numbers, like I've been heavily doing, a lot of that stuff, of course, with like medication and stuff too. But I'm interested to see the numbers that we'll find out next week. And, I'm pretty open about everything. So like it's going to be exciting to kind of share those numbers. We'll see what happens, with hopefully like we've had some progression. But yeah, like, so lupus, like I said, it was I was battling it, got diagnosed in 2016, 2017. And then from there, it's been like, yeah, it's just been ongoing. And then this year was kind of like the worst flare up. Almost went into, pretty much was going into a septic shock, which put me in the ICU. As well as, it's just this year was bad. It was like nonstop fevers. Like I'm talking every day, every hour of the day, fevers, pain, to the point where I couldn't move. You know, it was quite a bit of things that just hit me at once. And, anywhere from like a pretty brutal, case of pneumonia, because, colds and pneumonia don't hit me the way it would hit a regular person.
Sure.
So, dealing with that, also like while being in the hospital, it just kind of, it was basically the first 6 months was pretty hell, like this year. And it took that, that hospital stay to really kind of get things to turn around and switch up doctors. And in the middle of all this too, I lost coverage with my main specialist, with my main primary care. So it was just a shit show dealing with all that. Now, we figured things out with some of that. But yeah, it was just a crazy shit show, crazy with stress. I mean, part of me too was wondering how much of it was induced with stress. And because earlier, or June of last year, I lost my dad. So I feel like after that, that's when things kind of started getting a little out of control with my disease. And so it was.
How much can, obviously the disease is the disease. How much, with something like this, how much of a contributing factor are the environmental things that we subject ourselves to, right? So well, not subject, but like
hold on.
Yeah, second. Go ahead.
What happened? Sorry, 1 second.
Oh, you're good. If you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Good to see new names I haven't seen in here before. Welcome, everybody. While I got a little downtime, go ahead and if you want to jump over on the Adam Makes Beer YouTube channel, if you haven't checked that out before, I've got a bunch of pro side resources over there. I've been doing some full brew days at some different spots, some long form stuff. It's interesting to get in and check out other people's setups, what they have going on equipment wise. So yeah. I also did drop the link to the GoFundMe here in the live chat, and then I believe I have it in the description for this episode on YouTube. All right, he's back.
In here, okay. Sorry.
Hey, brother. Hey, dude. No worries. No worries.
It was maintenance. My apartment was like banging on a door like something was wrong.
It was the solid cop knock that you got on the door. I'm like, man, okay, somebody's knocking.
Because my the wall right here is like, the next room over is the living room, that's where the door is. So you can hear everything. And I guess they were just like, we might have to turn the water off. I'm like, okay, but that was
Yeah, so basically I was just saying, so like how much can you help with onset symptoms through lifestyle stuff? Or is it just one of
Yeah.
those things where it just kind of is what it is?
Honestly, I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, I bet.
What I am noticing though is, and again, shout out to AM Profit, my buddy who's actually a head brewer, buddy Alex. He's a head brewer over at Mike Hess Brewing. He's sweetheart of a human. He volunteered his time to kind of get me back in the mix of just getting muscle mass back, getting strength back because I was pretty beat up after the hospital for sure. Um, and that's what I'm noticing is now that we've been doing some slow resistance training and building ourselves up, uh, I at least I physically I feel better. You know, we won't know until we see the numbers, which again
Sure.
that's why next week is really exciting to kind of see what's going on. But from what I'm seeing is obviously watch it on the sugar, watch it on the alcohol, be a little, mindful of it. You know, there is times where every human wants to indulge, but
Yeah.
um, just make sure to monitor that. But I really feel like a or just introducing more physical activity, staying active as well as monitoring. For me, the biggest differences I've seen was watching sugar and watching and moving around more,
Yeah.
being more active, and I've noticed pretty big difference there. Um, I think, like, yeah, I think there's, you know, and there's people with lupus that have certain regimens they swear by. I'm trying not to rely so much on the medication stuff because it's just expensive.
Oh, sure.
There's some downsides to it. So I've definitely been trying, like I said, um, trying to watch it on sugar. And obviously stress management is the biggest one.
Yeah.
I straight up have a OCD workbook. I've been going to therapy. I think that too has been a big contributing factor to feeling a little better. And I feel like lupus is very. I feel like inflammation in the body is a big indicator of like, okay, you're going through some shit right now. You're not
Yes.
super happy right now.
Yeah.
I feel like those are kind of the biggest things that contribute to a lot of people's lupus flares and things like that. But again, lupus will act up when it wants to act up, and there's not really a way to control it. But for the most part, when I pushed hard on these positive changes, I've seen some good stuff. This most recent time though was kind of scary because it was like I was trying to start to do the positive stuff, and I was still getting hit pretty bad with some of the symptoms. But again, like between between all these expensive medications and visits and stuff, it's been made possible because of the beer community. And right now the one of the goals, hopefully it works out with covering medical bills. And I'm currently still, the reason why I'm trying to like raise is not just at the time too, obviously I was out of work, I ran out of vacation time, it was definitely a big help there.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing, again, like medications, doctors, all that stuff, insurance can only cover so much sometimes. But as well as one goal of mine, hopefully I can make it happen. Right now I'm in the middle of trying to apply to be a part of a trial for UC Davis. There's this therapy called CAR-T that's been known so far. There's not really no long-term studies on it just yet, but it is looking really positive on lupus patients receiving one treatment and just having a complete turnaround, being in remission.
Sure.
So, and if that doesn't work out, the goal would be to try to get to another country that does it. Right now, it's very weird. It's in the U.S., but it's only approved for like lymphoma patients and I think certain kinds of cancers. Which lupus is strange because there is certain infusions you have to go to the chemo center. those can be pretty brutal. Luckily, I'm on some different injections that kind of prevent me to have to go back to that. I was doing some infusions at the chemo center, and it gets pretty wild.
So really, infusion, like, so you receive chemo sometimes as treatment?
Yeah, there's like different forms of it, and
Sure.
I was on one of them.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's autoimmune is wild. Like you have to do some pretty extreme treatments to really slow it down, because if you don't, that's where it can really, again, lupus can attack what it wants,
Mm-hmm.
and it could really mess you up. Different organs, different, like, at the same time, it sucks. Kidney, it does suck, but at the same time, it's like it could be worse.
Yeah.
Um, but with, I guess, yeah, with that treatment, it's known as CAR T. Um, I'm no doctor, but from what I've read, is like it's almost kind of like pulling cells out of your body and reprogramming them and putting them back. And so
Mm.
basically reprogramming them to not attack you, because that's what lupus autoimmune is. It's like for instance, like my joints, it'll see my joints as a foreign object in my body, and that's why it'll attack it and hurt it.
Mhm.
That's why, like, I get weird about like my hands and stuff. They're not, I can move them right now and stuff like that, but they they're obviously kind of a little deformed there with the joints, and they're not like normal hands, and it can, like I said, it attacks what it wants to. And I'm really, if things don't work out with that trial, I'm in the really early stages of applying for it. Also have to obviously get like my doctor's approval to go for it, because I'm not sure if she sees it as a way of like, is this a last resort thing, or
Mhm.
are we going to give the current regimen a chance? So we're kind of figuring that out. But again, um, if that doesn't work out, then the game plan might be like I might have to go to another country and receive that treatment. I've been doing a lot of reading with it. I'm pretty confident in it. So yeah, that's something that has been basically like on the potential lineup. So
Sure. Sure. Well, man, that's a lot. I know something I admire. I admire a lot of people. There's a lot of people I admire, but I have some people close to me that have the capacity, and it's not that they don't have down days or anything like that, but they have the capacity to be resilient, and to be grateful for what they do have. And me personally, I think that's an area I definitely need to grow. And so listening to you talk about it, it sounds like a long road, but it also sounds like something that you're actively engaging with. A dear friend of mine who actually helped me start this channel years ago when I first started recording stuff, he did my video work, and he was in a car accident when he was 16 and left quadriplegic, and he's just one of those guys. Sometimes you see, like, me and some of my buddies joke about like some of the, like, those grind guys, like videos that you'll see, like I work 18 hours a day, I work 3 days,
yeah,
3 days in one day,
the
like, all
David
that.
Goggins guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But like there is something that I have such a deep respect for, because not everybody has been dealt the same hand of cards, and I have respect for people that, it's nice to hear your perspective on it, and I'm sure there's up days and down days. I've not lived it, but it's nice to hear you pushing. You know what I mean?
it's
Yeah.
like you said, there's up days, there's down days. Obviously, did a lot of thinking. Coming out of the ICU was a big perspective change for me. Really, really appreciating, not that I didn't before, but I feel like maybe I didn't do it as much before, but appreciating even the smallest of interactions with people, with humans. with realizing that I do have this like obsession for, um, you know, providing like a fun experience whenever I'm around.
Mm-hmm.
And just because I like to see joy in people, and I like to know that I fueled some of that joy. So from doing stand-up comedy to doing memes, it really does mean a lot to me, and it showed me kind of what's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, there's so many horrible things that are ruined by like, or so many things that are ruined by the horrible stuff like greed, money, and um, people always stress on what others think of them, and other people's perspective, and it really showed me to not stress on that stuff so much. And the thing that I feel super lucky about this stuff is I don't know what happened, but never, maybe it's I lost my mom at kind of a young age, and I think from there my brain, I luckily had a really good cousin around me that kind of really programmed that into me of like, cool, like, well, it sucks, but what's next? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, you're not gonna sit here and feel sorry for yourself. Sorry, there's no time for that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's definitely been programmed in me with all this stuff. Is a victim mindset will just fucking hurt you. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
not, and don't get me wrong, it's necessary to just take a second, take a day, be sad, be super sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it sucks. Like, I'm pissed. I had it the other day. I missed my I became super type A after getting out of the hospital for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's just because of all the drugs and everything. Like, some of these steroids get kind of brutal. And
Mm-hmm.
I missed I for once kind of slept in a little bit, and I threw off my medication schedule. And then I was like pissed. I was like, what the fuck do I have to be on so many meds? Why do I have to do this? Why do I have to do that? And I had to like stop myself. I'm like, okay, like, could be worse. Like, let's move on. Let's
Mm-hmm.
we got some cool shit we're doing, and let's go with that.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. It is what it is. And I always have to remind myself, like, the result does not mean the complete outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if something's
Mm-hmm.
fucked up, but there's a way to fix fucked up. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I have to constantly remind myself of that. And I feel like yeah, and that's kind of where I go into. I didn't want to fall into that hole of feeling bad for myself. I really wanted to see how I can get some good going from it, and growing the platform and being able to have the reach I do is really fucking cool. Like, I'm really stoked on making people laugh, but also connecting people. Like, I always try to post when there's jobs or when somebody's looking for something. It doesn't always, I'm not always able to find someone a job, but if I can make the connection and get them set up with any kind of interview or leads, I just feel like by Wort Wrangler happening, I definitely feel obligated to utilize it for good, utilize it
Yeah.
for however I can help out the industry with it. Yeah, no, so
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you making time today to be able to chat. I'm glad it was interesting to be able to connect. I enjoyed the conversation I had with you. Obviously, we can all follow you at Wort Wrangler on Instagram. Is there anything that you have coming up that you want people to be able to plug into?
yeah, check out the Mash Pit podcast. It's kind of our fun industry, beer degenerate podcast. It's all segmented. It's not, I mean, there's flow to it, but there's 4 segments. A life before puree, kind of a nostalgic segment. Uh, Hype Daddy Hour, obviously everything that's hype.
Yeah.
And there's also the weekly runoffs. It's kind of like what's going down, and gossip, beer gossip, things like that. And then my favorite is Untap That Ass, which is we make whatever brewery's on. We tend to make them read their own bad Untap reviews, and we kind of go review that. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the Mash Pit in a nutshell. Check out recently we've had an episode with Dogfish Head. There's anywhere for Sam Adams. There's New Belgium. There's some great people we've gotten to connect with on there. other comedians and stuff too in the earlier episodes. But yeah, no, keep an eye out for that. Brew Olympics is coming up, the yearly annual thing in San Diego here. It's a fun thing we host at Ballast Point Miramar. Breweries come play some games that we made up and win some prizes. Free to compete. Email
Nice.
Antonio at wortwrangler.com to compete if you want to. We've had people from out of state. Everybody's welcome. It's a fun time. As well as other than that, keep an eye out for merch. Always having, I always do these fun one-off special release merch pieces. I tend to not re-release things, so grab them while you can. And I think that's kind of all the big. So again, I just want to throw out there that I'm just really appreciative of everybody, and if you see me and I don't know you, say what's up. Say everybody's my friend in the industry. I love it. I welcome it. I'm beyond grateful for every second of it. There's nothing like it.
Well, that's awesome, man. I'm glad we're able to jump on. This is a lot of fun. Everybody out there, please make sure to show some love to Blickman and to Brewed Fiscally if you need anything, either on the accounting side, the equipment side. I'll be back here live next week doing a Q&A. It's been a couple months I did a Q&A, so make sure to drop your questions, topics, anything that you want me to riff on for that, and we'll be going live with that next week. So in the meantime, Antonio, once again, this was a blast, man. If you could just stick on just for a second once I jump off stream, and I'll chat with you. But yeah, this was awesome. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no, again, I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate you taking the time to sit down and chat with me. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. Check out the GoFundMe, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.